people at stoplights, they're gonna be seeing my snowman socks. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me today on this sunny day. I actually wanted to get out a couple of hours ago, but a series of events held me up. Realized that GoPro batteries weren't charged. That took a little bit longer than expected. So in the meantime, did some taxes, fun stuff, saved a lizard from our outdoor cat Tex. Oh yeah. Then tried to start up the TU because that was the bike that I was going to take today, and the battery was dead. So hopped on the Lightning instead, and I have some exciting news today. There's a new addition to the family, to the GoPro family, and that is a new camera. Ta-da! The reason that I wanted to take the TU originally was because I guess clamping the GoPro onto the handlebar was like the easiest. It was just a straight across bar and so easy to clamp onto. And the other part of that was that the TU does not vibrate like the Lightning does. So there was just going to be less of a concern for me to, I don't know, have the GoPro like shake off or something, shake loose. I think it's going to be okay. Once we're going at higher speeds, it kind of smooths out, the bike smooths out, and the GoPro is less shaky. But I think we'll be okay. I'm excited to see how this footage turns out. I'm excited because hopefully the videos will be a little bit more exciting for you guys. It just won't be a straight shot looking out into the wild blue yonder. So it'll be more exciting for you. It'll give you something different to look at. Me, I don't know if you want to look at me, but here I am. No, I think it'll be good. And whatever it is, every time I put this helmet on, my face starts to itch. Never fails, every time. So another part of trading bikes, since I couldn't take the TU, was removing the GoPro that's on the handlebar from the TU and putting it on the Lightning, and it's kind of a little bit of a different configuration. We have to add some arms to the setup in order to work on the Lightning. So we were getting it set up and got it all put on, and then realized that it covered like the entire speedometer, and I was like, I can't see how fast I'm going. And my husband's like, do you need to? And I'm like, yeah. I actually look at it. I look at it probably, I don't know if I want to say too often, but I look at it. I like to know that I'm not going too fast over the speed limit. I have this thing where I just don't want to get pulled over for speeding because I don't want to have to pay a speeding ticket. I've never actually had a speeding ticket in my life, but I kind of like to keep it that way. I just don't want to mess with the hassle. The only thing is I can't see now if my blinker's on. I used to be so good at turning my blinker off on a motorcycle because I was trained by my scooter. My scooter, when I first started riding, had a very audible blinker, and so you couldn't miss if you turned it off because you could hear it. So I was always in the habit of turning it off right away, when I needed to. And now with the motorcycle, now that I've gotten more used to riding on a motorcycle, but then not having that noise, I just kind of forget about it sometimes. So I just will randomly click the blinker button just to be sure. Oh. So we've had a couple of pretty nice days here in Texas. And Texas weather is weird. I'm sure I'm sure a lot of states and cities have their own weird weather. So it can drop 30 degrees in one day where I am, and that's not uncommon. I mean, it's weird when it happens, but it's not anything out of the ordinary. And yesterday and today were, well, it's kind of like that. I think yesterday the high was maybe 84 and today the high is 64, so 20-degree difference. And yesterday, since it was nice, we decided to take the Royal Enfield out and find some cool areas just around town to get some cool shots of it. Let's go. I'll turn right. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull over right here because my pants are kind of creeping up. My socks are showing. Not that that's an issue, but I'd rather have my legs covered a little bit more than this. And people at stoplights, they're gonna be seeing my snowman socks that I have on today. Yes, I'm wearing snowman socks today. Anyway, back to the story. So yesterday we went out, took some pictures of the Royal Enfield because we don't really have any. Everything was going just fine. We were done. And done with the pictures, decided to go back home. It was getting pretty windy and I think we had, got enough pictures by then. So we're going home and I'm sitting at this intersection and I think the Royal Enfield had just had enough by then. She was being a little diva and has said, I've had enough. I'll set it up for you guys. I'm at this intersection. There's people all around. There's a motorcyclist first in line straight ahead of me. He's probably like, cool motorcycle. Wow. So then I take off from the intersection and the bike just shuts off practically right in the middle of the intersection. Just turns off. I assume that I stalled. I don't really stall. I've done my fair share of stalling when I was learning how to ride a motorcycle, so it's mostly in a neighborhood. Sometimes I've maybe stalled a handful of times while riding, but it's been right as I take off, so I haven't had a chance to really get anywhere. It's like right when you take off and you just kind of like lurch and then stop. And so, I don't make it very far and it's not a problem. It's not like I'm out in traffic. This time was a different story. I'm in the middle of the intersection, the bike shuts off, and because this doesn't happen to me all the time and because my main concern is just getting out of the road, I just kind of like, I wasn't panicking, I just wanted to get out of the road. And I'm trying to I'm fumbling with the controls and I'm trying to remember how to get it back on and what to do, and nothing is working. And so I'm tiptoeing the bike, as fast as I can while being safe to try to get through the intersection. I make it to the other side, and something that I mentioned in my first impressions, I guess first ride video of the Royal Enfield bike, was that it's a taller seat height than I'm used to, and so I'm not quite as comfortable on it yet. I still need to practice riding it, practice maneuvering it. And so, I'm kind of tiptoeing the bike at this point in the intersection. I make it across and I'm right up against this curb, and so I have my right foot up on the curb, my left foot down the ground, and I'm walking it and trying to get to the first street on my right. And my husband is with me. He was he was driving the car behind me, so he pulls into the street and he's so sweet. I mean, of course he would do this, but God bless him. He gets out, he gets behind me as I'm almost to the street, and he's pushing me so I can go faster. So these cars are kind of going around me, and fortunately there is room for them to kind of get around me. And so he's pushing me and I make it across. We're safe now, and we're talking about, what happened. So I'm like, I guess I stalled. So we're kind of fiddling with things, and the bike turns back on, you know, just fine, of course. So we're talking about it, and he's like, well, did you run out of gas? And I was like, well, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm like, well, I don't know if I ran out of gas, because it says there's 3 bars left, like 3, you know, you have like the bars and how much gas you have left, and there was 3 that were left, and so that makes it seem like there was a quarter of a tank left, I would say, you know. So maybe it ran out of gas, maybe I stalled. It was just kind of weird because, you know, I don't normally stall, but again, it was a new bike, so you know, it could have completely been user error. I tried taking off again, and it does the same thing. I go a little bit and then it stops. So we're kind of wondering, okay, how to get to the nearest gas station safely. I managed to make it to the nearest gas station. It was pretty close. As I'm turning into the gas station, the bars, the little bars I was talking about on the fuel gauge, go down. They go down to either 0, like there's no bars left. Yeah, I think it goes all the way down to 0 bars. Then as I make the turn into the gas station, the bars go up by 1. So there's 1, and then there's like 2. And so I'm like, well, maybe it was the gas. Like maybe it just ran out of gas. We had ridden 100, and I think it was 37 miles on it by that time. So I guess it was probably kind of pushing it, only because we've read things already that the fuel gauge is kind of unreliable on the Royal Enfield, well, at least on the Continental GT 650. So the fuel gauge really isn't accurate. We probably shouldn't have been trusting it as much. And that's probably I mean, not we, like I'm the one who's riding the bike, so I probably shouldn't have trusted it so much. When I got home, I Googled what happens when a motorcycle runs out of gas. I read a couple of things. One thing is that the bike starts to sputter and then shuts off. And the other thing I read was that it just turns off completely. So maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe I didn't stall it. Maybe it ran out of gas. So a couple things that we learned from it: refill after 100 miles, just play it safe, don't trust the gauge, and learn how to get out of a stall. Woman, learn it. That's good advice for anyone. Learning things. So that's about all for today. Thanks for coming along with me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along and subscribing and liking and commenting. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber to Joy on a Bike, hit that like button. I hope you all are taking care and having a fabulous week. I will catch you next time. Bye.